Patrick, we've now wrapped up Phenotype February, 28 phenotypes over 28 days, and a lot of really interesting discussions over the forums. Can you reflect on just what you were hoping that the community would get out of Phenotype February, and do you think that it happened?
Yeah, it's been, I'm really proud of what the community's done this month. In Phenotype February, we set out with the goal that every day we would talk about a phenotype and talk both about the clinical aspects of what was the disease target that we were trying to develop an algorithm for, but also thinking about the science of phenotype development and evaluation. And indeed, we've gone 28 days. We've had 28 distinct conversations initiated and a lot of rich conversations taking place across our community about trying to establish best practices for how to phenotype. We've actually developed some good phenotypes. We've gotten some good insights from the community. And I think what we've learned is, as a group, we've seen how a community effort to develop phenotypes is really something that we can all lean into as a community and create a resource that we can all take advantage of.
The value of this effort moving forward, can you just talk about having these kind of established phenotypes and what the community can do with them moving forward?
Yeah, one of the things that is clearly needed across the entire research community is that when we want to do a study of a given disease or a given drug, well, we first have to know how to find that disease in our data sets. And all too often, our studies start by trying to create an algorithm that represents that disease. But if you get that wrong, the rest of your study can't recover. And so being able to actually have a scientific principle that we can all follow to develop and evaluate these phenotypes and actually assess them before our study ever gets started can actually allow us to have a foundation and build confidence in the research that we're doing. So I actually see that this phenotype effort that we did this month really lays a foundation for how we can think about community involvement in development of phenotypes that can support all of the types of studies and strategic initiatives around the world that OHDSI is engaged in.
Yeah, you talk about initiatives around the world that OHDSI is engaged in, and I want to go to the announcement by the EMA of the DARWIN, the work with the Erasmus Medical Center being the coordinating center for DARWIN. I know the webinar just happened over the last week. Can you just talk about high level what DARWIN is, how OHDSI is involved, and what came out of that first EMA webinar?
Yeah, I think it's a highlight moment for the OHDSI community and for our lead collaborators that are involved with DARWIN EU. So DARWIN EU is a large project initiated by the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, that's establishing a European-wide data network and will be conducting analyses to support regulatory decision-making. And the contract for DARWIN EU's Central Coordinating Center was awarded to Erasmus MC under the principal investigator of Peter Reinbeck, with collaborators at University of Oxford, including our own Danny Prieto Alhambra, and other OHDSI collaborators, including IQVIA, The Hive, and Odysseus. And this collaboration is basically set forth to establish a European-wide data network that will adopt the OMOP Common Data Model, and to develop standardized analytics that we're going to run against the OMOP Common Data Model using some of the OHDSI tools that we've developed. So when we think about OHDSI as our global mission to improve health, there's really no bigger opportunity than to support our colleagues in the regulatory agencies in thinking about how to support their regulatory decision-making to improve our understanding of the safety and effectiveness of medical products. And DARWIN EU is going to be a tremendous effort to leverage data in the OMOP CDM and tools from the OHDSI community across European landscape to generate reliable evidence that's going to support policy decisions across Europe and around the world. So I'm really excited that we have leadership from within our OHDSI community, and I'm really keen to see the entire OHDSI community lean in to support Peter, Danny, and the entire DARWIN EU Coordinating Center team as they pursue something that's really going to be a tremendous advancement for the use of real-world evidence.
Certainly, this is something that we'll talk a lot about as we go on, but very exciting announcement that came out. Another thing that happened over this month, and something that the community has talked a lot about since the start of 2022 is work groups and assisting the work groups in all of the really exciting work that they're doing. And part of that was aiding the leadership and helping them kind of steer everybody in the same direction. And so we had a OHDSI Leadership Summit on February 11th, and really great representation from almost all of the different work groups. What stood out to you from that event?
One of the things I'm really proud about in our community is that we have so many people who are giving of themselves to this cause to try to improve health by reliable evidence generation. And we have a lot of leaders in our community who have just stood up and volunteered to try to bring the best of themselves and to the community to advance the science that we're all trying to work towards. And so to bring together the leaders of our various work groups to have frank conversations about what are we trying to achieve and how can we collaborate together, it was really inspiring for me to hear about all of the passionate directions that groups are trying to do and to actually identify those opportunities where we can actually strengthen the collaborations across our work groups. So I really want to thank our OHDSI work group leaders for their leadership in our community. And I'm really excited to see how we can together as a community bring together all of the talent and capabilities that we have in the community to try to develop some shared solutions that we can all benefit from.
It was great to hear, and we had several work group presentations over the last month, so already a sense of everything that's coming up, and all the OKRs for 2022 have been posted to the work group page on ohdsi.org. So please feel free to check that out, get a sense of what's happening, and then join in these work groups and add your insight, add your perspective, or simply just join and learn, because there's really a lot of amazing work happening. Over the last month, we did mention at least to save the dates for the 2022 OHDSI Symposium will be October 14th through 16th, the 14th being the main symposium day. A lot more details to come, so certainly over the next month we hope to share more, but it was exciting to have a date on the book, and certainly we have some exciting OHDSI community calls coming up in March as well. So Patrick, thank you for joining, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens in March.
All right. Thanks, Craig. Happy Phenotype February.